Chat. Chat. What do I do now, man? What do I do? Wuthering Waves has beat Gabimaru. And I'm not even trolling. They have beaten me. I'm hyped for Chisa, hoping she's a DPS. She's a niche support. I'm hyped for Mornai, hoping she's a DPS. She's a support. I'm hyped for Rebecca, waiting for an entire year. She's a support. And now there's the possibility that her supportive capability is locked behind also getting Lucy. I can't compete anymore. Wua has beaten me. I'm just depressed at this point. Every character I look forward to. What do I do anymore, man? It doesn't say anything about her not being a sub DPS. Even if she is a sub DPS, she'd still be way weaker than the main DPSs, though. Like, being a sub DPS doesn't mean you're main DPS material. Like, technically speaking, you can run a, like, Lene main DPS, but, like, Lene main DPS is noticeably weaker than, like, 3.x main DPSs. Exists. Pre getting indirectly buffed by Lene because Lene's a res lib buffer because of AMeth was at like 1.8. Like, yeah, she could be, but like it's just doubtful, especially considering she's the free character. It's just so, it feels like cope to even believe that Rebecca could be a S character. Maybe Lucy and Rebecca buff each other? No. Wua main DPSs don't usually buff their team. They just do damage. Unless it's like in sequences or something. Like, if your main dedicated role is main DPS, you usually don't have any buffs. So it's like just Rebecca. Rebecca will probably be Lucy's best in slot if that leak is true by a good margin, basically, is how I imagine it. Like a Augusta situation, maybe, considering the way it's worded. Lucy buffs basic. Oh, really? So they're. Oh, I see. So you guys think that maybe both of them are sub DPS slash main DPS hybrids because of the, I guess, leaks. Yeah, I've only seen Rebecca leaks because Rebecca is the only one I care about, so I don't get recommended anything about Lucy. Dante was the free character in PGR? Yeah. And I could check. Lucy is a sub DP. I mean, no, because Rebecca also has buffing, apparently heavy attack buffing. So Lucy, main DPS, does heavy attack damage, basic attack damage, amp, tune hack response. Oh, so this is the bullshit. It's called Toon Hack instead of Toon Break. And then Rebecca, BA damage, heavy attack damage, amp. Okay, yeah, so they buff each other. So this is like Mono Fusion, basically, kinda. This sounds like Mono Fusion, the way the team kind of buffs each other and does damage, I guess. But that's still annoying. What is the difference between the two? The difference is that Toon Hack doesn't exist in the game, which means it's a unique gimmick to the collab characters. That's the difference. It's like if in HSR there's true damage, and then there was a new character who had truer damage, and it like functioned differently and had different activation requirements. I don't know if WUA has the increased 50-50 rate like HSR does. I don't know. I've never seen a post about it, so I don't think so, but it could. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't even aware that HSR had better rates than it actually does until much later into me playing the game. I don't even think most people are aware of that. Rebecca only works with Lucy now. I mean, I wouldn't doom post, but the reality is her best team will likely be by far Lucy. Because apparently you might not be able to activate her heavy attack buffing unless you have Lucy on the team, which is a little sad. Can you show HSR rates? If I remember correctly, HSR rates is 5644, and then the Lycomb banner is actually like 7832. Wait, no. Yeah, the Lycomb banner is 78% chance. But they advertise it as 75-25 and 50-50. Are you gonna pull Lucy? I don't know. Depends. I can just wait for the beta. I have not been playing WUA that actively lately, so my pulls are like very low. Oh, they have Lucia leaks too? Wait, Lucia can buff echo damage? That's unexpected. I thought they just make her for, what's it called? Hiyuki. Damn, that means a Sagrika buff too, no? I hope my guess was correct. My guess for like the power ceiling at the end of the WUA version was like 2.6 milli DPR. I wonder if I'll be off or on. Not to hate, but damn, Genshin gives so little pulls. Oh no, most people are aware that Genshin's pull count is atrocious. The main thing that people use for Genshin to defend it is pulls per 5-star. Because of the mainstream ones, they're the ones that release one new 5-star patches the most. But like recently with HSR releasing so many one only 5-star patches, it doesn't even have that anymore. So it's more of like oh, our 4 stars are still usable thing. But yeah, Genshin has always had shit pulls, fucking garbage. Isn't Sigriko already best DPS? I think. I mean, the Sweat Lords will make arguments for probably for Nightfall, Zanny, and Kartethia Quick Swap. But outside of that, yeah, I think so. Like, it's close. Are you pulling Eva? No. See you later, Human. Take care. Can you show your Silverwolf and Yao builds? Sure. Silverwolf build isn't finished. I'm still trying to improve it a bit more. As you can see. Trying to maximize the speed rolls. And then Yao Guang, I'm going to be honest, I didn't prioritize any stat outside of speed. So she's just 200 speed to make life easier. Don't even ask about the Huohuo build. One thing I hate the most about any gacha community is the moment they grow big, their toxic side just naturally becomes loud enough to take over. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there are some big gachas out there that aren't too toxic. The problem with Wuwa is that a lot of Wuwa and like the community discussion and a lot of it was built on a superiority complex over Genshin. So that's why the Wuwa community is the way it is a lot, you know? It's not even just the Wuwa community. I'd argue HSR community was similar to current Wuwa community in like its first 1 or 2 years, like Penacony. It was the same thing. Like the main discussions going on was just Genshin and HSR fans talking about which game is better than the other. And you know, oh, our game does this way better than yours. Oh, but my game does this better than yours. But Wuwa is like, it's literally the only thing they have as an identity almost. Is just comparing their game to other games. It's very similar to the One Piece fandom. If any of you are, you know, watching anime, reading manga, the One Piece fandom, I'd say it's gotten a lot better recently for sure. But like, I'd say probably 2025 and a few years earlier, in between that gap of years, that was the most toxic I've ever seen a community in my life for a series. Just constantly comparing and being like, oh, our thing is, we're so much better than JJK. We're so much better than Naruto. We're so much better than Bleach. Oh, we're way better than Frieren. Oh, we have the most manga, like shit like that, you know? It's like someone who consistently self-inserts themselves in things that you shouldn't even be self-inserting yourself in to begin with. The comparing graphics between games is like comparing manga art between authors. Oh, Oda, Goda, he has so much better manga art than Bleach, which never fucking draws backgrounds. Right? Tite Kubo can't even touch the peaks of Oda's art. Bullshit like that. Oh yeah, One Piece is my favorite anime of all time. Like that's the thing. It's in a similar situation of the way I am with Wuwa, where like Wuwa is one of my favorite gachas of all time. Um, One Piece is my favorite anime of all time, but I just don't really like the communities that much. Yeah, exactly, Cristoforo. They make it their entire personality to like hate the Hoyo games and constantly bring up Hoyo and talk about how much better Wuwa is. And it's like at that point, are you even enjoying the game, right? Like do you really love the game or are you just using it to slander another game that you used to play, you know? Like I don't usually use the term LARPing, which a lot of people use these days, but it feels like that a lot. And it's not just the Wua side, by the way. Like Hoyo people can do this at times as well. It's nowhere near as common as the Wua community. I'll say that. But we have our own people over here who do the same thing sometimes. You know, I've seen it. Where like they'll blindly attack Wua and bring up Wua for no reason. It's like, bro, just fucking play the game. Just play the fucking game, dude. Or like bring it up naturally in a conversation. You don't need to force it, you know? Like there's no point. You're just trying to instigate shit. Are you excited for the One Piece remake by Wit? Um yeah. Yeah. The thing is, by the time that One Piece remake finishes, I'll probably be in my 40s. So, I'm not exactly the most excited or hyped over it because I mean I've already experienced the anime completely, but it's cool that it's being done, especially for the newer generation. Because One Piece's biggest issue has always been its pacing. Toei has tried too hard to milk as much as they can page after page from the manga to make sure that they don't go on like a hiatus or anything because they catch up too fast, which has led to the anime being unbearable for a lot of people because of how long it is. Yeah, exactly. Like people will pretend they like something just so they can use that something against something they don't like. It is what happens quite often. Fell out of what love for One Piece for some reason. I lost all my hype for the story since Loki's reveal. Really? I thought Loki was pretty cool. I think the problem with a lot of these series, and I've learned to do this quite a lot as I've gotten older, the reading and watching, you know, week to week experience is pretty, it's pretty treacherous, right? Like week to week, because you have to think about it, right? Let's say you're getting into One Piece. You can read 8 chapters, the first 8 chapters of the One Piece manga, in probably 20 minutes, right? 30 minutes. So you digest the information very quickly. But when you're reading these mangas week by week, 8 chapters is already like 2.5 months. You know, you might have already forgotten some details from like 7 chapters ago, which seems crazy. So what I've done is I'll let something like marinate until it's got like 20, 30 plus chapters since I last read it, and then I'll go back and then I'll digest all those chapters at once. And it makes it much more enjoyable for me. That's what I was doing with Chainsaw Man. Yeah, the week by week read experience for manga is always like really annoying. Especially for One Piece. Especially for One Piece, since it's accustomed to having very drawn out arcs, and arcs are very long. You prefer Netflix's way of dropping all content at once? Yeah. Now, I get that dropping content week to week builds up more hype, kinda. So, and they probably make more money off of it. So, I get why they do it, but for the viewer, it's always more optimal that all the content just drops at once. Remember when people said Anoxa was a future-proof character? Well, yeah, it's obvious he wouldn't be. Nobody in these games is future-proof. People just overrate uh, a character's ability to last long in the meta if they look really good at the time. Like, that's just how it always goes. People have a lot of issues trying to, like, have pattern recognition and recognize, like, oh, this has already happened like a million times over. We thought a DPS was the ceiling and could never get power crept. Gets significantly power crept after a while. Is no longer anywhere near as meta anymore. But we keep saying these characters are future proof. You know? Like, even Tribby, who I'd argue is one of the quote unquote closest to future proof characters that you could pull from the entirety of Amphorius. Blade is significantly stronger than Tribby. Like, it's not even necessarily close in terms of amping team damage. Like, Blade is just way better than Tribby. So, are you pulling Eva on any of your accounts? No. What's your favorite One Piece arc? Um, it's such an NPC answer, but it's probably Marineford. Probably. Never played HSR, but why are you on a marathon? I'm just kind of. My streams are mostly dedicated to reading my chat instead of me really doing anything. So there's a lot more conversation going on, but a lot less gameplay going on in turn at the same time. I like Whole Cake. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of Whole Cake. Mainly because Sanji is one of my least favorite characters among the Straw Hats. He's not as bad as Usopp to me, but he's still definitely one of my least favorites. Oh yeah, Water 7 was also pretty decent. I just think they spam Sanji's like gimmick a little too much. I don't have as much of a problem with it as a lot of people do, where they're like, oh, completely get rid of it. I think that's dumb. You shouldn't completely get rid of it. But like, it gets to a point where he literally cannot fight women and he refuses to do it, and he's just constantly fawning like very very consistently. Keep in mind, I watch the anime. I imagine in the manga it isn't anywhere near as bad, because obviously the anime stretches shit on purpose to just waste time. But because I watched the anime, that's just the experience I had. Sanji was pretty insufferable a lot of the time. Usopp hate? I mean, Usopp is just... I don't even want to get into it. Yeah, exactly. Like, the reason the Sanji can't fight woman thing ticks me off so much. If it's a gag, but when he's very serious and it truthfully matters, like, your captain's life is on the line and you finally decide to fight a woman, I won't complain that much. I don't care if it's like a common occurrence, but not a but like he literally stands by this rule, which is stupid. Like, imagine if Emu was a woman. You know what I'm saying? So he's never gonna help the crew fight Emu at all. GG's, bro. GG's. You're missing, like, one of the main pieces to your crew's entire strength because he has a gimmick where he won't fight women. Nice, man. So then it's just Zoro. Yeah, exactly. At the beginning, it isn't that big of a deal. Well, actually, no, there's Big Mom, obviously. But, like, now that you're nearing the end of the series, okay, we say nearing the end, but there's probably like another 300 chapters left at least. But my point is, like, you're entering kind of the climax, right? Like, this is where the peak of the verse is probably going to start popping up here and there. Unless Oda forcefully barely puts any woman who are bad and actually strong, which to be honest isn't something that would really be surprising at all to do. But like my point is he literally has to do that to make sure that the crew doesn't get fucked by Sanji not being able to fight them. Or you just overpower Luffy so much to the point where his crew doesn't matter anymore. Which I would not be surprised if they go that route. I genuinely think base Luffy currently would shit on Sanji and Zoro. Oh yeah, Usopp is definitely worse though for me, for sure. Usopp is like, oh my god, he's something else, man. Like, keep in mind, I I liked Usopp in part one, pre time skip. I really liked Usopp, but the problem is with just how long One Piece is, I cannot be reading 500 more chapters and it feels like you've made nearly no progress. Like, do you know how insane that is? There are some manga series that don't even go to 500 chapters. Probably a majority of them, right? I've read 500 chapters on top of what I've already read, and it feels like you as a character have barely progressed. How am I not supposed to be disappointed? Like, if you compare Luffy to 500 chapters ago, he's incomparably stronger, right? Same goes for Sanji. Same goes for Zoro. Same even goes for Nami. I'm sure Jinbei got a little stronger here and there. Like, Usopp is really holding it, like the crew down, kind of. Rebecca and Lucy's kits got leaked. Yeah, and I'm depressed. That's why my stream is the title what is. I just don't want to use Rebecca with Lucy. I just don't want to pull Lucy, man. Please. I beg. I know you gave us Rebecca for free, but like, please, please, just make her a, a semi-usable DPS without Lucy. Or maybe a semi-usable buffer. I'd take anything, bro. Just make her usable anywhere. Preferably as a DPS. Without Lucy. And I'll be... I won't have much of a problem. What does Rebecca do? According to the leaks, Rebecca and Lucy have a new type of toon break, but it's called toon hack. So only Lucy and Rebecca have it. And Lucy and Rebecca highly synergize with being on a team together. Like, one does BA damage and buffs heavy, the other does heavy damage and buffs BA. So I assume it's supposed to be like a mono fusion type of thing, where there's like multiple DPSs instead of one hyper carry. But like, I don't want Lucy, bro. Please, I just don't want Lucy. It's kind of expected. Um, I thought they'd make Rebecca maybe want Lucy, but I didn't think they'd go out of their way to make literally an entirely new gimmick to make it that way. Like, it's just, bro, it's just the situation all over again where it really rubs me the wrong way. You're locking a character's buffing capability behind having another character on the team who can inflict toon hack, is what it's supposedly called. And if you use this character anywhere else, you don't get this buffing capability. Like, it's just dumb. I don't. Also, Rebecca's a heavy attack buffer, right? Why? What do they have against heavy attack buffers? Like, what do they have against it? Yeah, like you, they did this with and now they're doing it. What is it that they have against heavy attack buffers? Just make a normal one, please. Just make a normal one. Why do they all need to be like capped by some gimmick? I have no clue what the recent WoW endgame looks like, I'm gonna be honest. Free character? I mean, listen. I won't complain about getting Rebecca for free. I won't. It's a W at the end of the day. Is it something that's completely expected and many consider the bare minimum? Yeah. But considering the bad track record Wua has had the last 2 years for free characters in Zheng Liao, it's a pleasant surprise to see that they aren't completely against it. You know, you pull Lucy, I assume you maybe run it with like Mornai and SK, which a lot of people already have. It's a decently cheap team if you consider the fact that Rebecca's free, and it's probably going to clear the end game content. And it's collab characters, right? It's cool. But, bro, why are they so niche? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? It's not even like a Ceredra niche, right? This is literally one other character in the entirety of the game. And no one in the future and no one released prior is going to be able to unlock this condition in this character's kit. Like, why? I'd prefer it if there was already a good buff at base, and then an even better buff is maybe locked behind this gimmick. Maybe I could deal with that. But just completely locking heavy amp behind that shit is crazy to me. What is Toon Hack in the first place? It's new. It doesn't exist, is the point. Like, it's just made up for the collab characters. A new mechanic. I was talking about it earlier. It's the equivalent of, like, you release true damage, and now, I don't know, 3 or 4 patches later, you release a character who has truer damage, right? Not true damage, truer damage. And this truer damage is better than the other true damage. But it's like hyper niche and has a very specific case scenario to activate it. Truest damage? Yeah, that also worked. I don't know, man. Okay, let me reread it. The heavy attack amp is locked behind a special tune break which only Lucy can use via Tieba. Yeah, I'm not missing anything here. The heavy attack amp won't activate. It's just like Augusta's the only one who can take advantage of the Blessing of Wand Light buff from from the a shield refreshing a bajillion times over and over again. Because Yuno's the only one that has like a trace for that in her kit. But the thing is, in Rebecca's case, it might be worse. Because at least Yuno has some base buffing. The way this leak is making it sound is like all of Rebecca's buffing capability disappears without Lucy on the team. Which is just sad. Like, that sounds so fucking sad. None of it hurts Rebecca DPS potential. I mean, Rebecca's best team is probably going to be with Lucy, and I doubt her hyper carry is going to be that good, considering the current kit structure looks similar to duo DPS. I mean, to be fair, I will say duo DPS is what I wanted, but not exactly in this way that they've done it. But we'll see. Hopefully, if it's like, Lucy team is only like a 20-25% upgrade, I won't care that much. I won't, okay, I'll care, but I won't care as much, I should say. If that's the case. But if Lucy is legit like Oh, use Lucy Rebecca together. You get like 2.3, 2.4 milli DPR. Remove Lucy. The shit drops down to like 1.6. I'm not gonna be a happy camper. Maybe Rebecca can be a good DPS character with high investment. Well, that's the problem. I have like no saved pulls on Wua right now, so I can't even go into her sequences unless I drop a stupid amount of money, which I'm not gonna do. I'm not spending money as freely on gachas like I was months ago. I've toned it back down a lot. Gacha practices are just cancer? True. In general. HSR needs a fucking guaranteed weapon system already. Like, genuinely. I don't know what they're doing. A guaranteed weapon system would be the banner change that loses them the least money, but gives them a lot of good credit. We love Wua DPS as being trash without that one really specific character that nobody will ever use. I mean, to be fair, I can't even speak because HSR decided to go this route in 3.x. They like tested it first in Penacony, but like it wasn't too bad. Only a few characters had this, and then 3.x they just threw that shit out the window. The only character from 3.x who's a DPS that you can genuinely argue doesn't need a specific teammate is Feignon because of his verticals. Like Feignon is basically the only one. Everybody 3.x, Herda wants Tribi, Mono Rem, I don't even need to go into the specifics of that. Dot highly wants Kafka. Dot highly wants Heislands. Elation badly wants Yao Guang. Follow up is probably gonna badly want Blade. Right. Like it I already talked about it in my video I think I made like a couple days ago. The first year of these gacha games, that's the honeymoon phase. That's when there's the least niche shilling, niche archetypes. Most characters being released are generalist. That's the best time. But after the first, year, that shit all goes out the window. They start throwing niche characters all over the place. Yeah, also, more people care about Lucy than care about Rebecca, which is why Rebecca is free to begin with. Like, I like Rebecca way more than Lucy, and I don't care about Lucy. But a lot of other people care about Lucy more, so not necessarily that nobody cares about Lucy. I mean, yeah, WUA premium teams aren't as strong as HSR premium teams. Because I've talked about this a lot before. WUA characters are way weaker at base than HSR characters. Release versus release against release endgame content. That's just how it goes. HSR characters are made a lot more overpowered at base. So when they're in their full best in slot team tackling their endgame content when they release, it's like, I mean, a lot of people even at lower investments might get a zero cycle. You could have a full premium new S0R1 Wuwa team. You aren't getting anywhere near the clear time equivalent of like a zero cycle in HSR. Like even speedrunners struggle, you know? Like speedrunners, I'm talking top 5, top 3 speedruns on the entire fucking planet, and they still can't hit it. Wuwa vertical investment is just garbage. So bad. Well, okay, it's not bad because if you compare it to Genshin, it's actually like good, especially considering it has a sequence shop. But in context with comparing it to HSR, it's terrible because HSR Eidolons are like E2 Phanon, E2 Evernight, E2 Silverwolf, E1 and E2 Evanescia, S1 Phanon. Like S1 Phanon, 35% jump. E1 Phanon, like 20% jump. E2 Phanon, the guy's like nearly 3x as strong now. You know what I'm saying? Like, genuinely, imagine pulling a cart, getting her S2, and now cart is 3 times as strong. Like, just imagine that. Comparatively to Wua's endgame, that would destroy. That would be so good. But, like, it just doesn't work that way. You know? Prolova Premium can't clear shit anymore. Uh, I'm sure when Lucia comes around, considering she's an echo damage buffer, there will probably be a shill buff for echo damage. So, your Prolova will probably clear when there's shill. But yeah. Horizontal is way better in Wuwa? Yeah. Yeah. Not only is the vertical investment weaker, but teams being a max of 3 characters instead of 4, you can make a lot more teams pulling a ton of characters than you can like HSR. Well, depends. If you make some of your limited pulling plans based around the free characters this game gives you, it could technically actually be close to Wuwa in terms of like horizontal investment, but I feel like that is kind of cheating. Because in Wuwa, you're always going to have the freedom of choice which team you want to go for. If you are influenced by like a free sparkle to get Archer even though you don't want him, there is a difference in value when it comes to that. It is nitpicky, but it is a thing. Yeah. In my opinion, is it's not worth vertically investing in a Wuwa team or character unless one, you've already gotten the full team, because usually getting the full best in slot team is better than overly investing into their sequences. But also, S3 and S6, those are almost always the stopping points for Wuwa characters. Because S1 and S2, they might be decent, but they'll never be good enough, in my opinion, to actually, waste your pulls on. S3 is usually the big jump, and then E6 is, or S6, as of recent, has been the biggest jump among sequences for like a lot of the main DPSs. It's like small jump, huge jump, small jump, huge jump. But like at that point, I just get a new team, you know? Like S0R1 cart plus, let's assume, Chacona plus Chisa or Arrow Rover, depending on if you're saving or if you didn't get Chisa. Instead of getting S3 cart, because let's be honest, S0R1 cart in a premium team can probably clear. Um, you can use that 3 limited for legit an entirely new team, you know? Like, entirely new. That's Lucy plus Rebecca plus Mornai. You know, that you're putting into a cart. I'm pretty sure I also made a video on this like 1 or 2 months ago on vertical investment versus horizontal. I think 99% of the time, vertical is only really worth it if it's for a character you absolutely adore and you know you're going to play them like for a long ass time. That's the only time it's worth it. Objectively. That's why I did what I did with my mono rem on this account. Like I knew I wasn't gonna drop mono rem. You know what I'm saying? Like I love Evernight. I love Cassie. I like Cyrene. I love Hyacine. Like this is not a team I'm dropping anytime soon. So they might as well get all the E2S1 love, right? And I did on the two characters I care about the most on this team. Silverwolf will probably be the same thing. I'll probably get like Silverwolf E2 eventually. What's the point of giving Rebecca when she is worse without Lucy? I mean, I'll take it, man. It's better than getting no free Rebecca and she's still reliant on Lucy. You know? Like, you can call it cope, but man, I'll take any free limited character from WoW these days. I don't even care anymore. The fact they even gave a free limited character is like, thank you. You know? Like, my expectations were so low. How trash is she in HSR terms? Who? I mean, we don't have the beta to see their actual strength currently. So that's hard to say. But yeah, I don't know. We just have to wait for the beta and the actual gameplay and performance. There's still hope. I mean, the only reason we're talking about this is because there's leaks that uh okay, so Lucy does heavy attack damage, buffs basic damage. Rebecca does basic damage, buffs heavy attack. And they both have Toon Hack response. So the clear idea here is they're probably supposed to be a duo DPS team who buff each other. Kind of similar to Augusta, you know. Um, but the problem is if you don't have Toon Hack response on another teammate on the team, apparently Rebecca's heavy attack amp disappears. So if you do not have Lucy on a Rebecca team, a pretty important part of her kit with the heavy attack amp doesn't exist anymore, which is it's something for sure. Isn't S3 cart basically an E2 and HSR? From the calcs I've seen, S3 cart has a no. Um okay. One, there's a difference in value, but two, a lot of WUA calcs are done for personal damage and not for team damage increase, right? So by this I mean when you look at Phanon, buffing Phanon by 280% will buff his team's damage output by 280%. Right. When you look at Cart, buffing her by, let's say, 253% would not lead to a 253% team damage jump. It would probably drop down to like, I don't know, 210, 220. And this is still one more copy as well. But yeah, a lot of Wua calcs used to be done with just personal in mind without teammates. So they kind of got overestimated. I can check. Also, like, Cart is kind of the exception. Like, you can point to not just Phanon, but also Evernight for, like, a equally as broken E2, but Cart is kind of the only one with an S3 that broken. Yeah, so with updated calcs, Cart S3 is a 90% jump over S0. And that's personal. That's not even team damage, so it's even less than team damage. But personal, it's 90%, including the team's buffs for her. The old Cart calcs used to be without including any teammates. So a 90% E2 or S3 jump is lower than like a Glea E0 to E2. Like, and her to E0 to E2. And they're kind of on the bottom end of Ampho DPSs. Why are we comparing S3 to E2? It's semi-fair because of the fact that if you save up enough corals in Wua, you can buy a copy for a limited character you already own using 45 pulls equivalent of Afterglow coral. But I will say, it's not like this coral is easy to get. Like, you need to spend hundreds on hundreds of pulls before you ever get enough coral to actually, you know, attain even one of these sequences. Because you can buy up to 2. So they have that shop, which can make a sequence cheaper for someone. Is Saber E6 still good? Yeah, it's about the only thing good about her, man. Her E6 is definitely one of the strongest in the game. Yeah, Saber wasn't free. To be fair, there was a lot of propaganda going on during Phanon's patch by CCs talking about how, like, Phanon is fucking doo-doo garbage and he's gonna age terribly. And Saber's the GOAT because she can 0 AV APOC, unlike Phanon. And people genuinely believe that, like, they took that completely to heart. And they skipped Phanon for Saber because of Phanon's AV issues on release. Are you shading Zolza? It's not even just Zolza. It was like multiple creators and multiple people on social media who were like, Phanon is fucking doomed. Like, even his own mains Reddit was comparing him to like Archer and Saber, being like, wow, this guy is done. He's garbage. He's gonna age terribly. They always do this to the male characters. All that shit. The thing with Zolza is like 90% of Zolza videos are satire, which is why I don't, you know, really take her videos all that seriously most of the time. Like, she's admitted herself that quite often she's just over exaggerative and she farms because it's just easy views a lot of the time. Even Mr. Pokey? I don't even know about Pokey. I haven't been watching any gacha CCs as of late at all. Talked about this a few times. I kind of just do my own thing. I make my own videos, stream here and there, but I've basically stopped watching gacha CCs. Terrible digital footprint? Me? I mean, it doesn't matter for me if you consider that. Lore CCs are the only ones worth watching. Yeah, I used to watch Lore CCs a decent bit. Not anymore though. Not even Lore CCs. To be fair, as of late, I've been more focused on playing Valorant, I guess. So, but even outside of that, I was already like not watching them. Like if I go to my YouTube recommended right now, there's probably gonna be nothing about gacha. Okay, let me see. A Valorant video, a Valorant video, another Valorant video, a basketball video about the Spurs and Wembanyama. Anime VAs. Oh, I have NTE. I'm getting recommended NTE Hotori episode, I guess. Gacha CCs and HSR now are just Doompost on Doompost. Yeah, that's definitely a big reason why I've stopped watching a lot of HSR content. Is because I feel like of the mainstream gachas, I've already talked about this before. Um, HSR has the community which is most doomy about the game. Like no matter how rapidly they improve, no matter how big of improvements they make, no matter like the insane sudden release of free 5 stars, it's kind of just instantly shoved to the side, but for like, oh, but you could also do this. And then if they do that, then it's like, oh, you could also do this as well. And then it's an endless cycle. I'm not one to call people beggars at all in gacha games because these games make a fuck ton of money. In my opinion, way more than they deserve a lot of the time. But it's just an observation. I think this game is held under much more scrutiny than a lot the rest of the mainstream ones. Because in my opinion, you can disagree. HSR between ZZZ, Genshin, and Wuwa in itself has improved the most in the last year, in my opinion. They have made the most Jurassic improvements in the last year. Oh yeah, I should probably make a video like, um, you guys think people are gonna complain about Acheron if she gets a Nova the same way they did Firefly? Because now Acheron's getting like 4 or 5 cause 0 cycles with Blade. I doubt they're gonna keep the same energy that they did with Firefly. Because Firefly is just always getting overly hated on. If Acheron gets a Nova, that shit's just gonna be celebrated. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew they were gonna buff Acheron. I didn't know if it was gonna be Blade, but it was just obvious. Acheron is nearly, if not more popular than Firefly overall, right? on like CN Bilibili and like CN social medias, Firefly is more popular, but Acheron banner made them more money. So I don't know how people thought that Acheron wasn't gonna get a buff. Oh yeah, Chlorid. HSR has definitely changed the most aside from ZZZ. Yeah. Blade is not really a Dahlia tier buff for Acheron. No, he basically is. I'm gonna be honest. He kinda is. A 5 cause 0 cycle is nothing to scoff at all. Like Firefly with Dahlia and with her Nova currently needs like 3 or 4, I'm pretty sure. Let me check. Yeah, Firefly needs 3, including an S5 Battle Pass Break Lycone and an S2 Battle Pass Nihility Lycone on Fugue. And without Battle Pass Lycones, it's 5. No, the best clear without Battle Pass Lycones is 6. 6 cost against Kafka. So Acheron being able to get like 5 cost 0 cycles against MOC, that's solid. Considering she herself does not have a Nova. Firefly just got Nova'd on top of Dahlia. Some Battle Pass Lycones perform worse than a limited one, though. The point is the best clear without Battle Pass cones is 6. And no, the Harmony Battle Pass Lycone is one of the best in the entire game. Because buffing strictly Break is an unsaturated buff. The only other place you get it is on Dahlia's Lycone, her S1. So there's nothing interfering, meaning you get like a 16% break damage increase. That's 16% more damage when breaking. And S5ing that Lycone is even more crazy. So if Acheron gets Nova'd, which to be honest, I've been saying this for a long time. Um, Acheron is stronger than Firefly. So if you give her the Firefly treatment of like Nova plus best in slot teammate, Acheron is the one who ends up stronger than Firefly. That's just kind of how it goes. So if they Nova Acheron after this too, then, I mean, yeah. Blade is getting shilled next patch. I mean, brother, it doesn't matter that much. It isn't like elation chill. Like you can just say this. I hate this shill argument. It makes sense for very extreme scenarios like the Pollux Dragon for Cassie or elation chilling, but like people use it for literally everything and every character on release to try and discredit the strength that a team slash character. Like the thing is, there's always going to be shilling. I wouldn't even be surprised if there was mono rem shilling in a few patches. Like shilling just always comes back at some point. People were doing this with Cassie, right? Cassie initial release, Flame Reaver was a hard chill for AoE plus bounce damage. People were like, "Oh, Cassie's fucking garbage, bro. Wait until we get outside the shill. This character is gonna be fucking terrible." It's like always like that. Oh, Archer is only looking good because of skill point meta. Once the skill point shill goes away, Archer's gonna be dog shit. I mean, there's just a hardcore community of this game that has a hate boner for the MC getting any type of love from characters in this game. Like any type of love that the MC gets from a female character just gets instantly shut down by that community. Nova Acheron would be compared to the cast team? I mean, yeah, probably. We all know those are just a loud and obnoxious minority. Yeah, but my point is that's where the majority of the haters come from for Firefly. Is the people who hate the MC getting any type of romantic interest. The only team where Shill feels like it does a lot is Break. The rest are fine without Shill most of the time. Yeah. Well, to be fair, there's also Elation. Elation has its own issues without Shill, for sure. But I think it's just going to be fixed anyways in the future. It's like pre-Fugue, they were releasing break buffs for exo toughness, like to hint it, and shilling break, and then they just made a character who had that buff in their kit anyways, plus more. I assume like they they're doing the same with Nihilux. Nihilux is probably gonna have like a multitude of elation specific buffs that makes her best in slot, or whoever the last Pete is. It could not be Nihilux, because a lot of people like to be nitpicky with me. It could not be Nihilux, but like that last piece, you know what I'm saying? Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, people were saying the same thing for Ashvale too when it comes to like shill stuff. They're like, oh, Nikador shills Ashvale, so he's gonna be dog shit after Nikador disappears. Let me check. Acheron against Dark Sam. 5 cause 0 cycle. No Eidolons. Acheron 4 cause 0 cycle against Flame Reaver. 1 cycle with Gallagher E0S0 Acheron. Yeah, I think she's good. I don't know. I think she's good. Most of them are E4 well, yeah, but literally all you do is add a cycle if you don't have E4 welt and you have like E0. It's strong. It's 30% res reduction, but like also you add one more cost similar like E1 blade. Like Blade's E1 is still 20% res reduction, which isn't 30%, but you're getting there, you know, which is kind of the point. You maybe add one more cost if you want to get rid of E4 welt. I mean, there's still synergy with Ashvale. I don't know why. Like people really okay. For one, Ashvale already has a high amount of damage bonus that he gives himself. So while yes, it's a loss that there isn't an extra like 50-75% Fua damage bonus, it's not the end of the world. He didn't really lose much. And also, I've already seen calcs that because of the personal damage increase to Blade, the follow-up team is actually slightly stronger than it was pre V3 because now Blade does more significant damage. So, like, the best in slot team is undeniably still with Ashvale follow-up, and it's not even close. Like, Acheron is good. He very clearly favors Acheron, but he favors Acheron on purpose because Acheron is much weaker. No, I do not think Blade is a Himiko teammate. I'ma speak Lucy power creep into existence. I don't care, man. I'm just gonna get my Rebecca and call it. Re- Playing Wua for Rebecca has been my main drive for like the last year. Any crazy new stuff? No. Do you think Blade will get nerfed? No. I don't even want to get into the nerfing discussion. Like, everybody thought I was. It's crazy the amount of people that thought I'd be wrong about Blade. It's fucking insane. People were preying on my downfall. to like be wrong about Blade. uh, if Rebecca is your power, what are you without it? Uh, Nothing. You got me there, Socrates. I didn't think that at first, then I fell for the propaganda. I mean, once again, like, it's like the Cassie pattern recognition all over again. Where people are like, oh, this once happened before, this will happen again, and that's it, without really understanding the context. Like, why would you nerf Blade? What do you achieve? Follow up isn't like breaking the game's power ceiling. It's a buff to older characters, which makes them make more money off. Like, they don't lose anything. It's very important, in my opinion, an aspect that a lot of people leave out when considering, is a character going to get nerfed or buffed? If you worked at Hoyo and you're trying to sell a character and make money off of them, would you make this change to then make them only matter in like a follow-up team, and even then not as much? And this is like the lowest selling team in the entire version. So you just nerf his massive buff for Acheron. You nerf his massive buffs for follow-ups. He's no longer as generalist. He isn't HP scaling anymore, so you can't use him in place of Cyrene. You just lose so much money, and you gain nothing. They do some illogical shit sometimes. Like what though? The Ash Veil changes made him significantly more tailored towards a follow-up team. So as a sub DPS in a finalized follow-up team, his team will end up being stronger than it would have been if he was stuck in his V1 state. Cyrene is kind of eh. The only one that's kind of questionable is maybe Saridra for Phanon. But nonetheless, I mean, I guess Saridra is still the best in slot anyways. They got in. I mean, I don't know Genshin. Genshin and HSR have different devs. So, I wouldn't know anything about Genshin. Wasn't Cypher a failure too? The thing is, Cypher barely changed from her original beta. Like, there's always so much revisionism around Cypher's beta, but she got buffed in V1, buffed in V2. Um, like, she was getting very minor buffs throughout the first few versions. Then, they unfortunately changed defense down to, um, was it defense down or vulnerability down? I don't remember. I think they changed her defense down to vulnerability down, which I didn't like. Um, then in V4, that's when she got a good buff. Now, yes, her personal damage got a buff, but that didn't matter. Like, everybody forgets the reason Cypher was glazed in V4 was because of her E1. Her E1 gave her a 200% follow-up multiplier, and also an increase on the true damage for recording. So it was like a double whammy that made her very strong. And then in V5, that got reverted. So she was incredibly weak already, slightly buff, noticeably buffed at E1 specifically. Remove the E1, kind of revert the buffs that you got in the first couple versions. So basically, from V1 to V5, nearly the same character, right? If you just skip all the bullshit that happened in the middle, it's nearly the same character as V1 in V5. I mean, Cypher was best in slot for Archer, which was something I predicted back then as well. That Cypher would be best in slot for Archer. Like, yeah, she's a generalist, but she's best in slot for Archer. And that gave her value to a lot of people. And she was also best in slot for Acheron. Also, the problem with Cypher not selling well, I don't think necessarily has anything to do with her kit. The problem with Cypher not selling well, Cypher was not only in the patch after the anniversary, but she was the banner after Hyacine. And everybody who pulled the main anniversary character had to pull Hyacine. But then also, it's announced midway through her banner that Fake Collab is coming 3.4, and there's a pulling event, 200 pulls that you need to spend on only 3.4 in order to get Archer's Lycone for free. So there's a pull event sandwiched between Cassie and Hyacine, and then there's also Phanon. There's also Phanon, and then there's also Saber and Archer. Right? You're sandwiched between Cassie, Hyacine, Saber, Archer, Phanon, and a pull event. It's kinda impossible to have good revenue, if I'm being honest. This is goalpost moving. It just isn't goalpost moving though. Because we have seen over and over again characters who get sandwiched between very good limited characters either in front or behind them or both. Listen. Cypher used to be the worst selling banner character of all time in HSR. Right? Sandwiched. The next worst selling character was Dahlia. Dahlia was in between Cyrene and 4.0 with a new planet, new meta, and Sparksy and Yao Guang. And then the new lowest selling limited character in the game is Ashvale, who is right before the anniversary of Silver Wolf and Evanescia. There's a pattern, right? The lowest selling characters in this game are all sandwiched between much more highly anticipated characters. Because you can't even make the argument, right? Like, oh, this character is dog shit, that's why they didn't sell well. Ashvale is incredibly strong, right? Dahlia is insanely strong for a break. So it's not even a kit issue anymore. Low volume on your side, there's nothing I can do. People are always used to low volume on my streams. I could maybe try to do this. I don't know if it does anything. The problem with my mic software is that it just doesn't work on my PC. I don't know why. The argument is they made a character strong to sell them for Blade, but it what? I'm kind of confused. Sorry guys, yeah. I don't know. For some reason the software for my mic, I use like a Corsair headset that's incredibly expensive, but it just fucks with my PC sometimes, and at one point it was just really fucking with my computer. And I had no choice but to delete it because I found out that was the cause of the issues. I mean, the thing is, Blade's meta value isn't just Acheron and follow up is the thing. Like, you guys really need to understand, at least for now, he is the best amper in the entire game. You know what I'm saying? I bet you. Listen, Ashvale. I feel like this goes under the radar for a lot of people. Ashvale has equivalent, if not better, buffing than Tribby in quite a few case scenarios. This is a hunt character, a sub DPS, who has a much higher damage output than Tribby, right? But Ashvale, despite having such a good kit, sold terribly, which is my point. Characters can have good kits, they can be highly meta, like Tribby was. Tribby on initial release did not sell that well, right? She had, I think, one of the best selling reruns, if not the best selling rerun in the history of HSR for a support. Because a lot of people skipped her initially, then found out, oh, a lot of teams have her as a best in slot, and then they got her on the rerun. Which is probably what they're going to do with Ashvale. It's probably what they're going to do with Yao Guang. It's probably what they're going to do with Sparksy. People are slowly going to realize these characters are best in slot for a certain team that they want, and then they're like, oh, let me grab this character on the rerun. But meta value just doesn't really equivalate to how good your sales are, in my opinion. The thing is, in HSR, often the highest selling banners are the most meta characters, but it isn't necessarily that correlation equals causation, right? The most popular characters tend to be the ones that get pushed the most, which are the main pushes. And the main pushes get the most special treatment. So that's why, meta and stuff. But a lot of people would argue Firefly was on the weaker end of the main pushes from 2.x. She still sold way better than Fei Xiao. Like Fei Xiao 2.x prime time was significantly stronger than Acheron and Firefly. Yet Fei Xiao sold the worst between the two, you know. Yeah, like I don't blame people for not getting them, but that's kind of my point. You can make an argument that a mid slash bad kit deters people from pulling a character. However, in my opinion, that isn't the main reason at all why people are like not pulling Ashvale, not pulling Cypher, not pulling Dahlia. And that's why they're, you know, getting no sales. It's just that quite often these guys are sandwiched between some of the most hyped characters in the entire game. People have no more pulls. They're like, I'm just gonna skip. you know, I'm gonna wait till the next patch, or I'm gonna say for a rerun for this more hyped character, something like that. I only have E2 cast and E2 Fey teams. Will Blade do some worth for my account? I don't plan on playing that seizure inducing team. Um, I mean, Blade isn't really needed by either, but because he's a generalist, he can be used by both well, is kind of how it goes. So, not best in slot, but a great pickup. Honestly, I would get Blade over Cyrene if you don't have Cyrene already for a Cassie team. But actually, yeah, because you could just put Cyrene on Phanon, and then you could put Blade in place of Cyrene in the Cassie team, and it wouldn't hurt that much. It'd be like an overall upgrade probably. So yeah, depends on your team compositions and stuff. Blade is stronger than Tribby E0 in amp and damage. He's stronger than E1 Tribby in amp and damage. Like, that's the thing. That's what makes him so wild. In E1 Tribby is not equal to Blade in terms of buffing. And especially not in terms of damage. No problem, Revenge. Doesn't Asheville get kicked out of the future team then? No. No, Asheville is more important to follow up than Tribby is. Like, Asheville buffs more people who do follow up on his team than Tribby does generally. So he buffs more and he does significantly more damage. And he's an actual follow up character, meaning he'd better synergize with the team. Likely in the future. Like, I believe currently the strongest team in the game or near it is follow up right now with Asheville Blade. Tribby is there because, like, I mean, there's no one else currently to kind of put in there, but once follow up gets its main DPS, that's probably going to be the comp. It's going to be the main DPS, then Asheville, then Blade, and then a sustain. Yeah, HSR releases like 1 or 2 generalists every year. In V3, we got 2 with Cypher and Tribby. In V2, basically, kinda Sunday, kinda Sparkle. I wouldn't say Robin is necessarily a generalist, but at that time, kinda was. V1, you had Ruan Mei. V4, you have Blade. V5, you're probably gonna have, I don't know, uh, Huo Huo. Huo Huo SB. Yun Li SB. Robin is so chopped. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people can get E1 Robin for free now, so I'm sure that's how the game probably sees it. They're just gonna assume people have E1 Robin since she's on the shop now. Yes, Romeo, in my opinion. E1 and E2 Evernight are incredibly high value for her as a main DPS. What's the point of pulling generalists if they get thrown out after a year for the newest one? Because generalists can fit in any team. That's kind of their main selling point. Yeah, sure. Listen, here's the difference between a niche character getting power crept and a generalist getting power crept. If a niche character who only has 1 or 2 teams gets power crept in that niche, Kofkoff, Jiaoqiu, Kofkoff, Cypher, then what happens is they no longer have any teams where you're going to use them in anymore, right? Like, Pela is more usable as a debuffer, generally, than Jiaoqiu is. So Jiaoqiu lost all his value the second he got kicked out of Acheron teams. But if, when it comes to generalists, yeah, Blade power creep Tribby, you know what you can do? you can run Blade and Tribby together, right? Or you can put Tribby on your break team. You can put Tribby on your follow-up team. You can put Tribby on your dot team. You can put Tribby on your attack scaling team. They don't have, you know, this thing where like, oh, I got power crept out of one team, I'm done for. You can still use them as a filler slot for any team in the game, which is way, way more valuable. Which is the why I value generalists a lot. Like once again, one of the best clearing teams against endgame currently is Ashvale plus Blade plus Tribby with a sustain. You know, like technically, let's be honest, they never made Tribby in mind to be best in slot for this Ashvale Blade team. It's just because she follow ups on an ally's ultimate that people are even using her. But it works. And she's doing a damn good job of clearing well in that team, you know? And it's all because she's a generalist, right? If they made her hyper niche like Jiaoqiu, this synergy just would not be as good with Blade and Ashvale. And they just use someone else, right? They'd use Welt, E4 Welt. They'd use anyone else. Yeah. Also, you can do this with kind of anything because, yeah, power creep is just always going to catch up to your units at some point, you know? And that's just inevitability. However, there are some units who can continue having a good amount of value for a good amount of time in comparison to other units who may fall off faster, which is usually what people talk about when they're over exaggerating and calling a character like future proof or something like that, right? They aren't literally future proof, but they are the most likely to age well, is usually what people mean, in comparison to others that may age terribly. Yeah, Nova Flares did buff vertical investment because you can get like an E2 Phanon. Let's say your E2 Phanon is feeling bad 2 or 3 years later. He's probably already gotten a Nova Flare by this point, right? Like, I think Phanon will probably get a Nova Flare somewhere in version 5. So, now, not only is base Phanon buffed, but they also buff some of the good early Eidolons as well. E2 Phanon would probably be just exponentially stronger. And then it lasts another 2 years, you know? So, vertical investment has gotten buffed in that aspect because of the existence of Novas. All right, chat. It's now 6 in the morning. I think it's a perfect time to end off this stream. Thank you all for stopping by. Thank you all for the discussion. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have a great night. Good luck with your polls if you're pulling Evanesia. And